What's going on, George Mason University? Welcome back inside the press box. I'm Vandy Bernard.
I'm Perry Buckley.
I'm Lindsay Hokinson.
I'm DeMonte Shaw.
Thanks once again for joining us. We're going to start things off with golf. Men's golf won the Manor Intercollegiate in Farmville, Virginia. So congratulations to the golf team. And we're going to shout out tennis now.
Okay, men's and women's tennis finished up their seasons this past week. The men's tennis team finished 14-7 on the year, closing out the season beating Delaware 5-2. They finished 4-1 in what will be their final CAA season. Way to finish strong, guys. The two seniors on the squad, PT McQuinn, and Jordan Dyke. They finished up their final season. Wish them best of luck in their future endeavors. Women's tennis finished their season 7-13, 0-4 in the CAA. Hopefully they'll do better in the Atlantic 10. And their lone senior was Kirsten Pappas. So good luck to you in your future. I'm rooting for you, pulling for you.
Indeed, as we all are. And now I got some rowing news for us, Lindsay.
Yeah, rowing was at the Connect Cup in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. The top finish of the day went to the Novice 4 who competed in the grand final. At the Connect Cup, there's various levels of finals, the grand final being the highest. The George Mason A Novice 4 took silver medal there. The varsity pair final finished 4th. Mason finished 6th with the B boat in the petite final. And the varsity 8 competed in the third final, taking 3rd, while the varsity 4 competed in the third final, with the GMU A varsity 4 taking 1st. So congratulations to all of you ladies, and they head again to New Jersey for another regatta next weekend.
P-Buck's hometown, Perry Buckley's hometown, New Jersey. Represent. And I just want to shout out some track at the Mason Spring Invitational. Of course, David Verberg doing his thing as always. And we got to shout out Jennifer Akamara for shattering the school record in the 300-meter steeplechase with a time of 11 minutes, 19.90 seconds. And Siobhan Briscoe had a time of 13.52 in 100-meter hurdles, which is second all-time in program history. So definitely shout-outs and congratulations to you two ladies and to the rest of the track and field team as well. And now we got some upcoming games.
Yeah, upcoming games for this weekend. On Friday, women's lacrosse is at Old Dominion, and the rest of the games the weekend, the home games that you guys could go to, please go support our athletics. Softball versus Hofstra at 12 on Saturday. Men's volleyball at Princeton. Track and field is at the Michael Johnson Invitational and the James Madison Invitational, both on Saturday. Golf is at the Wolfpack Intercollegiate, also on Saturday. Softball on Sunday is playing Hofstra at 12 p.m. and women's lacrosse playing William & Mary at 1 p.m. And women's soccer has an exhibition game versus Loyola at 10:30 a.m.
Yeah.
So come out and support Lindsay. And baseball also has a game on Sunday at 1 p.m. versus UNC Wilmington. So again, come support our Mason athletics.
Definitely, indeed. Semester winding down. Definitely want to make sure we support them all. Yeah. And had some rumors last week, and of course, in terms of a few names transferring from our men's basketball team. Can confirm that Verchovon is indeed transferring. Hasn't been confirmed as to where yet, but he will be transferring. So there's been a shifted team dynamic coming up. The other rumors the other players that we had rumored that came up, as of right now, should be staying. So he should be the only one right now that things might be changing. So we'll see where things go with that.
From an inside source?
Inside source. Special sources.
You know how we do.
Only on the press box. And of course, we had our NCAA Tournament Bracket Challenge. The tournament wind down, of course. Louisville won.
That's right.
And we had a special winner.
Our winner happened to be one of my residents, Tyler Durkee. Congratulations to him. He had Louisville taking it all the way. So congratulations to him. You'll be getting your special prize very, very soon. So be on the lookout for that. And congratulations to you. I don't know how you did it because those brackets were just terrible. But I guess he just had the least worst bracket. So.
If that makes sense at all. But well, of course, remember to check out all of our athletes throughout the last few weeks of the semester. Make sure you support them all. And make sure you keep it locked right inside the press box. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
But the
Yell.
He's probably trembling on the other end of the phone.
Trembling.
I set it up. I did. No.
Wait, we just recorded that.
All right, so just start whenever you're ready.
Outtakes.
Welcome back, George Mason University, inside the press box. So we're now gonna transition things off to a few big injuries that have happened the past week in pro sports. We're gonna start with baseball and Blue Jays. Jose Reyes injury, kind of a freak accident, freak injury that usually happens. Trying to slide towards the base and severely sprains his ankle. Is going to be out till around All-Star break or so. What do we think about the injury?
Yeah, it seems that he mistimed the slide. Jose usually slides head first, and he went in feet first and kind of mistimed it, and doubled. It was odd, but then rolled up his ankle, and he's gonna be missing some time out until the All-Star break.
Yeah.
But like you said, just a freak accident.
Yeah, unfortunate.
But Reyes is a guy who's prone to injury. Since in the 2009 to 2011, he's averaged about 98 games. Last year was different. He played 160. But he's always prone to injury each year.
Yeah, I mean, long season. You figure, it's pretty bad injury in any other season, any other sport for that matter. It's usually going to be a pretty significant injury. Baseball, it's a pretty big chunk, but fortunately, I mean, you're talking about the All-Star break, and then you've got the second half of the season. So you'd rather it be now than when things start getting clutch.
Exactly.
So it happens, I guess.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I was thinking the same thing. If there were ever a sport or a time to get injured, it'd be baseball, like in the beginning of the season. Because I mean,
There's never a time to get injured. Come on.
well, I mean,
now.
nobody wants it, but if it has to happen, like why not early on? Get back.
He's missing a significant chunk of time.
Yeah.
Luckily, they're looking to kind of groom Brett Lowry, who's currently on rehab assignment at a Class A affiliate for the Blue Jays. So they're looking to groom him to play second base and move Macer Isturiz over to shortstop. So hopefully they'll be able to fill his spot.
Yeah, try to fill it for the time being until he comes back. And that was the only injury in baseball. This other one wasn't necessarily a freak injury.
No.
Of course, if you haven't seen the play, it was Zach Greinke, where he was pitching, kind of intentionally. Well, you can say, you be the judge of that,
Yeah.
whether it was intentional or unintentional. Do it at
Carlos
Quentin.
Of the Padres.
Of course,
Big
Quentin
guy.
charged.
Yeah.
like 250, 250.
And of course, big dude charged that Greinke and took out his collarbone. He's going to be missing significant time as well.
Pretty strange. I mean, they went shoulder to shoulder. Usually that's a football play. That's a bang play. That's just a quick. But in baseball, he's a littler guy,
Yes.
and that full force got a broken collarbone. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a pretty significant injury, especially for a pitcher.
Yeah, exactly.
I commend him for standing in there and taking the hit, He didn't back down. I mean, you
He
see
did.
him like, he's like, come on. And it's like, what are you doing? But he took it on and he finished the fight.
Yeah, well, Greinke and Quentin have had beef for a while now, and when Quentin came when they went to play each other, he said that if you throw at me one more time, I'm charging. And you see when he got hit,
Yeah.
He
thought about it a little bit,
Yeah,
took a
he
couple
thought
steps,
about it.
but then he did eventually charge because he said he was going to, and man, it was word.
Yeah.
So I guess you could say
Yeah.
Greinke knew it was coming pretty
They
much.
tried to connect it to like the hit or the almost hit on Matt Kemp earlier in the game, but I mean I don't see how that was connected because it didn't hit him.
Yeah.
Usually it's like you get hit, get him back, but it didn't. So
Yeah, I mean, in baseball, though, a lot of times it's going to be that back and forth kind of thing. Guys have each other's backs, and you start
Exactly.
to get a little too close. You start to threaten even. Sometimes that's when the emotions start to rise. I mean,
Right.
it was a bench-clearing brawl, which, some people disagree with in baseball. There's, times back in the day when you've got managers being thrown and things like that, and you look to, you think of fights in hockey and, maybe some in basketball. Baseball are the biggest because you have these huge rosters
Exactly.
coming off the bench.
Exactly.
I mean, in this brawl, you had the bullpens running from outfield.
Yeah.
And so, the interesting thing is people will talk about brawls, but when you watch it, it starts with two guys. A lot of the guys who come in are really just trying to be peacekeepers. They're just trying to pull guys off of each other. And you have those few players who were heated at the time who are going after each other. It's unfortunate to have an injury like this occur on something seemingly so insignificant, but it's going to happen. It's kind of a way that teams, maintain their respect.
Exactly, exactly. Protecting each other, protecting your teammates.
Yeah.
And I don't really see a way you can, of course, you always have the talks coming up of trying to find a way to ban brawls at all, but there's really no way you can ban it. If brawls going to happen in instances such as this incident where Granke got hurt. So it's not really a way you can stop it at all.
Yeah, Granke recently had a surgery. It took about 90 minutes. They put a metal plate in to stabilize the broken bone in his left collarbone, his left shoulder. And Chris Capiano is going to be getting his next start. So I don't know. We'll see how they can fare without him. But that's a huge loss, especially being that they just traded for him. Expecting him to be a big contributor throughout the season.
Paying him those big bucks.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate.
I just feel like brawls in sports in general are just hard to avoid because you have so many like competitive spirits out there. Like,
Emotions running high.
Yeah, it's bound to happen eventually.
Yeah, exactly. And transition over to another injury. This one wasn't the result of a brawl, but he probably had a brawl just with
himself.
Kobe Bryant just completely tearing his Achilles, out 6 to 9 months. And of course the injury occurred in the game against the Warriors. Early in the game, he seemed to have hyperextended his left knee. Continued to play on it. I don't know if that was a factor, but of course, fourth quarter with a few minutes left, trying to make a move that he usually does countless times, and Achilles just gave out. Mm-hmm. What do we think about the Kobe injury?
I'm going to say excited, but I'm not excited that Kobe got hurt. Obviously, extremely good player, one of the best in the league, one of the best all time. I'm excited for Dwight Howard because now Dwight Howard needs to be the Dwight Howard that he was in Orlando because he's going to be looked at to be the scorer, the go-to guy. He's got to put that team on his back, and hopefully he can, do something in the playoffs, make a little run.
Go into beast mode.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a terrible thing. People try to blame the minutes and blame D'Antoni, but this is Kobe Bryant we're talking about here. If he doesn't do it, then who is on the team? Mm-hmm. So I mean, it sucks that he got hurt in the process, but he had to play those minutes. He had to put up those points.
Otherwise, it would have been in the playoffs. So
yeah,
they never
exactly.
had a shot to get in the playoffs.
Yeah.
He played at least 41 minutes in the 6 games prior to that. I mean, you're talking that's a lot of time, not for any player. I mean, it's Kobe Bryant. He's 34. I mean,
a lot of mileage.
It's a lot of mileage, and I think you're like you said, people are trying to blame the time, but you want to win basketball games, you have to have Kobe Bryant on the floor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he had 34 points in the Golden State game. He played 45 minutes. I mean, they win that game because of him. He hits a big 3 towards the end of the game and ties up the game, ends up winning them the game. So, as Mike D'Antoni, you got to keep your player in there if you want to make the playoffs. Los Angeles has a winning culture. They're not going to sit there and as much as they're going to blame the injury on overplay, the Lakers fans wouldn't have it any other way if Kobe Bryant wasn't on the floor. You're in a double-edged sword. You don't play him, you lose. You play him, you win, but you run the guy into the ground. So, I mean, out 6 to 9 months, I mean, that is a huge chunk of time for a guy of his age, advanced age they call it. The guy's 34. He's got the rest of his life ahead of him. But, I mean, it's tough. You want to make you push him for the playoffs. He played 48 minutes the game prior to that against Portland. Ends up having a big game and winning. So, I mean, what are you going to do? You know?
And it's really disappointing because they're in this position because of Kobe Bryant.
Mm-hmm.
You take Kobe out of this equation, they're nowhere. We're not even talking about this at all. We're not talking about
not even near the
being
eighth
close to
seed.
exactly.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunate, and of course the blame game is going to be put around on if he played too many minutes. But again, you had to play him. You don't play him, then you're going to be talking about people saying, "Oh, why is Kobe's minutes to minutes? Why is he in there trying to help them out to get to the playoffs?" Achilles is a freak injury. It could happen at any time.
It's a move. It's a move he's made a million times, and he said it himself.
Yeah.
And made that turn and just fell awkwardly, and it was really unfortunate.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like you said though, this is Dwight's time. Hopefully he can handle this pressure. I'm pretty sure Kobe could be his little sensei, having him at practices, coaching him up, getting him ready, and look for Jody Meeks to be the star. It's gonna be Dwight.
Well, they have a couple of games left. They have San Antonio, and they close out the season, I believe, against
Is it Milwaukee?
Milwaukee. I forgot who they closed out the season against, but they have 2 more games left. Both pivotal games. Of course, Utah's still right down their tail. They're gonna have to win out. They can't expect Utah to lose. They're gonna have to just control their own destiny. They have a game up on Utah. It's going to be on Dwight Howard, going to be on Pau Gasol, the rest of the team to step up. Steve Nash should hopefully be back for them and see if they give him an edge. But in terms of this shifts everything with the playoffs coming up, the season winding down, it shifts everything in terms of the dynamics of the playoffs, especially in the Western Conference. Seeding everywhere is not, no one's locked in the seed yet, so we don't know who's going to be playing who's going to go where. What do we think this affects the Western Conference and going into the playoffs?
I mean, with Kobe, you're giving him maybe a game or two in the first series, and either playing OKC or San Antonio, both tough teams to play, even with the healthy Kobe.
Yeah.
So that you, like you said, they got to win out, which is step one. Step two is to try and survive and maybe get a win at home or two against one of these two teams. But it's I didn't foresee a long playoff future with Kobe. And now I'm seeing an even shorter span in the playoffs.
Bringing out the brooms.
Yeah. I like when someone said earlier in the week that basically this just means a bye week for OKC. So like they have a bye week. Ouch.
It's tough. It's fighting words.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that'll spark something in the Lakers locker room. Maybe they'll feel disrespected and feel like, you know what?
If they haven't felt disrespected all season long up to this point, there's something wrong.
I mean, it's ridiculous, but I don't know. The OKC, San Antonio, they've got a pretty easy route first round. I don't believe in the Lakers right now.
Nah, it's hard to believe anybody that will, even inside of LA, that believe in the Lakers. It's kind of tough. Hopefully they draw some motivation from Kobe going down, at least that his work, in a sense, is not going in vain, and they completely miss out on the playoffs, because it would be a huge disappointment if they miss out on the playoffs.
But LA does have something to look forward to, because the Clippers are there, so.
I was going to say, we know how the top is in the West. Do we have any dark horse picks to make runs into the playoffs?
Before Gallinari went down, I would have said Denver, but that's just a huge blow.
Yeah.
This almost 15, 16 points a game that just took this just gone right there because of this torn ACL. Dark horse, I don't know if you can consider them a dark horse. I mean, they've been around the same place each for the past few years, but Memphis, I feel, is pretty strong. They have a strong front court in Zach Randolph and Marc Gasol, the tougher Gasol brother. But they have a strong front court, and I think that if anything, they can make a push. If they have a potential matchup with the Clippers in the first round, I can see them getting rid of the Clippers unlike last year and trying to make a deep run this year.
No dark horse for me. I like OKC. I like what they bring. I've liked it the past few seasons, and I think it's a tough duo to stop. And I don't foresee it getting any easier as the years progress. I mean, you consider them just to get stronger and stronger as they get more comfortable with each other and they get used to winning playoff games, which they have started to. So I don't know. I like OKC.
Yeah, I mean, I look for Houston to make a little noise. I like their young, high scoring offense, but like you said, OKC, that Gatorade commercial with Kevin Durant, I feel like that's not just a commercial. I feel like that's him. Like he wants to get back and he wants to finish off the Heat because he's playing the Heat in the final. So,
well, I was just about to bring that up. No, we're not gonna have anybody else in the East shot to take down the Heat.
No, the Knicks, not even the Knicks.
Melo's on a tear right now.
Melo's got to score 40 every game.
Nah, he won't be doing that with the X Factor Bosch on the court. All right, so look for the Heat to just nail it up. No one has a chance unless Derrick Rose comes back.
That's a big question if he comes back.
Yeah. And maybe what Kobe will do, he'll while he's off, hey, my team's not gonna do well. Let me call up Derrick Rose and dethrone the king because I'm tired of seeing LeBron celebrate. So maybe he'll talk Derrick Rose into coming back. I mean, he has a lot of respect for him, so I don't know.
Him and all of Chicago.
Yeah.
Derrick, please.
Come back. But anyways, well, I guess clear consensus here is Miami coming out the East.
Yeah.
Do we see any, I guess, the Lakers a few years ago, back when Shaq was still on the team, they completed, and in the playoffs, they only lost one game, and that was to the 76ers in the finals in Game 1. When the answer was still there back in the day. But do we see Miami making that sort of a run in terms of just dominating, sweeping they'll probably sweep the first round matchup,
Yeah.
and maybe Milwaukee.
more.
And things are looking. Do we see them making that type of run up to the finals at all? So just running roughshod through the East.
I don't see them doing that.
Yeah, I don't.
I mean, we saw the Spurs doing that last year until they met OKC, and it was like, no. I think they won, one game against OKC? Almost got swept. And then again, they have a chance of sweeping out the East. But again, their style of play, it's up and down, it's fast, it's a lot of offense. They're a good defensive team as well, but like the other team has a chance of scoring as well.
Yeah.
And they're not really a team that's like last year. You look at they didn't sweep a single series last year.
7 games.
Yeah. So did the Celtics.
Yeah.
So I don't see that happening now.
Team with chinks in the armor. I mean, you've seen them go to the playoffs and look invincible heading into the playoffs, and still, like you said, not able to sweep early rounds. So they're vulnerable. Sometimes you don't know what to expect in playoff basketball, obviously as a whole, but with the Heat as well. Every night you could see one side of the Heat or the other side of the Heat. I mean, this season they've been much more consistent in terms of finishing off teams and really pounding teams into the ground. So you hope that they continue that into playoff basketball, but anything can happen on any given day in playoff basketball, and we all know that to be the case.
Yeah. It's only a matter of time before we figure out exactly who's in the playoffs, where the seeding is going to be, what the matchups are going to be, and definitely looking forward to the start of the next NBA season, the playoffs. We also got the NFL draft coming up in a little over a week, so definitely going to be following a lot of coverage on that. But we want to touch up on some special news.
Yeah, some exciting news, which probably no one on the planet knows.
Except Lindsay.
Women's Soccer Professional League is going for try number 3. This time under the moniker NWSL, the National Women's Soccer League. Starting up this weekend with an opening game yesterday and 3 today. They've had an entire preseason where they've been playing exhibitions against college teams, playing all for free, trying to really draw out crowds. They're trying to do something a little bit differently this time around. We've had, very, very beginnings, WUSA back in 2000. That went a couple of seasons, folded. Then you had the WPS start up, fold last season. We kind of thought that it was over for women's soccer, sadly, but they've made a resurgence. Couple of teams returning that have been here most of the time, Washington, New York. But we've also got teams coming in from the West Coast, Portland and Seattle, 2 big soccer towns with teams that should really start to make a buzz. You've got college players who are coming off of really successful international campaigns now joining the mix. Women's soccer is finally starting to create a buzz for itself after Olympic play. So I'm hoping that carries into this NWSL season. And finally, we're hoping third time's a charm. It'll be exciting to see, how the fans react. Women's soccer, it's crazy. Here in the U.S., we have the largest youth soccer organization by a long shot compared to any other country, and yet as soon as it gets to the professional level, the interest wanes. And so it's a hope and a long shot that this will stick this time, but I think the business model is a little bit different, smaller venues, higher quality players being paid not by the clubs but by the national teams. U.S. Soccer really getting behind this league, and hopefully it'll stick like the MLS has sort of done. So go watch women's soccer if you get a chance. Support the cause.
Yeah.
It really is. It's a beautiful game. So.
Yeah.
Beautiful indeed. I will be watching.
I definitely want to support the WNBA. Of course, we want to see where Brittany Griner, Skylar Diggins, and CA's own Elena Deladon, where they end up in the WNBA draft. So you definitely want to check that out.
Definitely.
And then real quick, when on the Masters, 14-year-old, what were you guys doing at 14-year-old? Do you remember when you were 14 what you were doing?
It was awkward years.
Riding the bus in middle school.
Classic days, huh?
Yeah.
Well,
Not making headlines.
yeah, not like Thingling Guan, 14-year-old amateur at the Masters. He held his own.
14.
Yeah.
Blows my mind.
That's crazy.
The thing that's crazy with golf is like if you're good that young, like you're gonna because you get better with age, really.
Mm-hmm.
So his career is just gonna take off.
Yeah, as long as he's
Barring
sustains
like
it,
injuries,
yeah.
like school. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I saw at the end of some
Parents.
article he's thinking about playing in the next major tournament, depending on his schedule, aka if he has finals or something.
Yeah,
You know? Something with school at 14. His parents tell him he can't go.
It's curfew.
Man, that's crazy though. Definitely big props to him, man. Of course, you definitely want to check out everything going on in the world of sports. As always, it's always entertaining, always something going on. Make sure you keep it locked. But we want to thank you for joining us in here in the press box. I'm Vandy Bernard,
I'm Perry Buckley.
I'm Lindsay Hokinson.
And I'm DeMonte Shaw.
and we will see you next time. Press on, George Mason. Press on.